Alright, so in this video, I wanted to cover information about incongruent and congruent transformations in phase diagrams, how to recognize those on a phase diagram, and how to write them down. Right. So for a congruent transformation, important thing to note is that you have no change in composition. So for example, one phase changing to another phase, just like one transformation, there are no multiple phases present. Or you could have a pure melting, meaning that you could have a liquid going to a solid or one solid just going to another solid. These are examples of congruent reactions. For the incongruent reactions, you have a change in composition, and the five types of incongruent reactions that we care about are as follows. You have a eutectic, a peritectic, a monotectic, a eutectoid, and a peritectoid. In a eutectic, you have one liquid transforming to two solids, liquid transforming to alpha plus beta. In a peritectic, you have one solid, one liquid mixing up and becoming one beta or one solid. In a monotectic reaction, you have liquid in one phase transforming to liquid in another phase plus a solid. For a eutectoid, you have one solid transforming to two solids. Thing to note, in a eutectic, we had a liquid transforming to two solids, while as in a eutectoid, we have a solid transforming to two solids. A peritectoid is the reverse of the eutectoid reaction, where instead of one solid, you have two solids combining to form one solid. So these two are sort of reverse of each other. All right. And then in a phase diagram, this is how they can look like. And I'll highly recommend you all to remember and memorize these names, these reactions, and how do they look like in a phase diagram. So let's do a question from the quiz slides. This is given to you as a tin gold phase diagram where only the single phase regions are labeled, and you have to identify the different reactions and write down the reaction temperatures and their points. So first, let's try to label all the regions that are in this phase diagram that are not labeled already. The regions that are labeled are the single phases region. So we'll try to label the remaining one. Let's start with the left. You know that this region, because alpha is on the left, liquid is on the right, this region is basically liquid plus alpha. Similarly, this region is liquid plus beta. At the bottom here, this will be liquid plus beta. Interesting thing, beta is a single line. It's literally one single line over here. So keep that in check. This region will similarly be, let's come back to this. This will be beta plus gamma. Over here, this will be gamma plus delta. This will be delta plus psi. And this region will be psi plus eta. At the right top, this will be liquid plus eta. Let me write this down again. So this will be liquid plus eta. And over here, this region will be liquid plus psi. Over here, this region will be liquid plus delta. And this region will also be liquid plus delta. Right? So on this side, this will be liquid plus gamma. All right, so we have identified almost all the reactions. Let's try to look at the systems or identify the points where incongruent or congruent transformations are happening or could be happening. So we have a point over here. Let's call that point A. We have a reaction happening here. Let's call that point B. We have a reaction happening here. Let's call that point C. Then we have a reaction happening here. Let's call that point D. We have another some transformation happening here. Let's call that point E. And then at this point, let's call that point F. So we have this A to F points that at which transformations are happening. So point A, you will notice that you are having a transformation from liquid to two solids, alpha and beta. At point B, you have liquid plus gamma transforming to one single solid, which is beta. At point C, you have a liquid plus delta transforming to a gamma. At point D, you have liquid transforming to delta. Here, delta is just one straight line. So all you have is all the liquid transforms to the delta only. At point E, you have liquid transforming to delta plus psi. At point F, you have liquid plus eta transforming to psi. So these are the 5 reactions. Let's try to label them. Liquid transforming to two solids is a eutectic reaction. One liquid and one solid transforming to another solid is a peritectic reaction. Similarly, liquid plus delta transforming to gamma will also be a peritectic reaction. Liquid transforming to only delta, now this will be a congruent transformation because there is no composition change. Liquid transforming to two solids, this is a eutectic reaction. One liquid, one solid combining and forming another solid, that is a peritectic reaction. You will notice that there are no eutectoid reactions. So we found a eutectic, we found a peritectic, a couple of them, and we found a congruent, but we did not find any eutectoid reaction. And this is how you can locate points, their temperatures, their compositions for different reactions, and identify which congruent or incongruent transformation is happening. To be able to do that, you need to memorize the different reactions, and then you need to be able to identify what phases are present in what regions. Just like how I labeled all these different phases, I'll recommend you practice labeling these phases. All right, thank you.